Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this project showcase from India Foundation for the Arts, Museum in Your Pocket, Playful Curations at the Museum. For those of you who don't know us, India Foundation for the Arts is an independent national philanthropy that supports and implements projects across education, research, and practice in arts and culture in India. We have been implementing projects over the last 29 years, resulting in over 850 arts and culture projects, the outcomes of which are a variety of artistic interventions such as films, performances, publications, exhibitions, and you will find out much more as well today. Project Showcase is a series of events that we host to showcase the work that we've done over the last many years and to also showcase the journeys of the artists who have engaged with us across our various programs. Today, we have a very special showcase from the Archives and Museums program, which basically engages with archives and museums across India to invite artists, scholars, practitioners to work in these spaces to generate new material and engage the public and audiences with these very rich cultural spaces that we have. And today is a very special showcase, which is a collaboration of an IFA project with the Bihar Museum in Patna, where the Bihar Museum was looking to open its regional gallery and invite two artists to work with them. And Apoorva Iyengar implemented a project with IFA to create very interesting, playful engagements at the museum. So I'd like to introduce the two panelists and the two speakers for today. We have Apoorva Iyengar, who's a conservation architect with a master's in conservation studies from the University of York, UK. She is currently the associate director of Fort Heritage Conservation Association and has worked on numerous conservation projects such as the Lalbaug Palace in Indore, the Afghan Church in Mumbai, and a heritage assessment for the Tibetan refugee settlements. We also have with us Moumita Ghosh, who's the Deputy Director of the Bihar Museum Patna, which operates under the Arts, Culture and Youth Department of the Government of Bihar. And this was a collaboration with Moumita and her team at the museum. And Moumita has over a decade of experience in curation, collection management, and has worked in the past with cultural heritage at the Indian Museum, Kolkata, the Allahabad Museum, and the Lord Cultural Resources. So we're very excited to host this sharing on how one can engage with museum objects, create interesting outreach. Just to share that we are here on Zoom, but we are also streaming live on Facebook. We will invite Moumita and Apoorva to share the process of what they created at the museum. And we will take questions from you, our lovely audience here after the presentation. If you're watching on Facebook, leave your questions in the chat box and one of our colleagues will bring it to the Zoom conversation here. So it gives me great pleasure to hand over to Moumita to share a little bit about the Bihar Museum and the regional gallery and its collection. So welcome, Moumita.
Thank you, Manika. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin by extending my heartfelt thanks to the India Foundation for the Arts team for its project showcase today, and for this opportunity and this part of Museums and Archive project of IFA. I'm truly glad to be here today to talk about the regional art gallery of Bihar Museum. And the space that not only built to just showcase artworks, but to keep Bihar's vibrant cultural tradition alive and meaningful. So we can start the screen with us.
So do let me know when you would like me to shift the...
You can share now.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Can you see it? It's on the second slide.
So, I must say, when the Bihar Museum was conceptualized, our goal was very clear: create a museum that the people of Bihar would be proud of and part of. A place where our history, art, our folk traditions, and our identity could be seen, understood, and celebrated. So, the museum, we all know, it's not only protecting the material culture, but beyond that. And it's all about connecting the past to the present and building a sense of belonging and a cultural pride for today's generation. So, when we take this up about the museum, ancient and contemporary, that speak to each other and where local also finds its place in the global conversation. That was the main idea behind it. So within this large vision, the regional art gallery of our museum plays a very pivotal role. While our history galleries take visitors through ancient kingdoms, archaeological discoveries, and images, heritage, our all those dynastic heritage. The regional art gallery focuses on what is still alive today. The folk art, craft traditions, community memory, and the visual storytelling that continues to shape the identity of Bihar. And interestingly, while we began the historical collection with 4,000 antiquities, which we transferred from the old Patna Museum, and the regional art gallery, we only begin with the 16 artworks we have, with honor of Madhubani painting, Manjusha painting, Sikhi art. We all knew about the collection, and it it was our smallest collection, but in many ways the most meaningful and popular at Bihar. So each of these 16 artworks were commissioned for the Bihar Museum, and what we see on this artwork is all about ability to speak about the people, places, festivals, emotions, and even the color. So with this small but powerful beginning, I've created this gallery that reflect the rich and diverse cultural expression of the state. So what was the curatorial vision while we are imagining this regional art gallery? So create a space for experience that actually we don't see the artworks but experience it and actually have a deeper connection to Bihar cultures. So when we started with that, so it should be an authentic. That was our first principle, the core principle for the curatorial approach. And it only not only the preserving the original form, but to respectfully understand the communities and the practices behind the art. That mainly, you can go for the next slide. Meeting and working closely with folk artists and craftspeople, listening to them, okay, how their work is connected, like the seasonal rituals, even the gender roles are very crucial in these paintings and artworks and their religious beliefs. And curating in a way that we want to honor the context of which these traditions were born. So we are not actually collecting the object, we are actually preserving those voices, stories, and relationships around these artworks. Obviously, the Bihar Museum talks the exhibition designs is a very powerful narrative. The storytelling is we are organizing the gallery. The storytelling matters. So when we start in all our history galleries, talked about those incidents, those that has changes the course of the history. We are not putting the galleries by the materials. So here is also we are not putted the all the galleries in material wise. You can see there are paintings, but in the showcases there are different genres. There are terracotta, there are paper mache, there are silver fish. So everything is the wood crafts that is talking to each other. They are actually residing to each other. It's a different dialogue and we choose to organize the themes and stories to create a dialogue, basically. And when we are structuring this storytelling, structuring these galleries, so the stories of artworks tells. Our main objective to know. And is it a festival, or is it all about the local or regional gods and goddesses that the people caste and community worship? Or it talks about the moral tale or mythological stories or any village memory. So when in the last slide, when you see that the two Madhubani paintings are there, it talks about the wedding rituals. And the next was talking about the goddess worship. Then the Manjusha, yes. And we also have the Manjusha scrolls that talks about the stories of Bihula. Not only the Bihar region is well known about the stories, but they also, in the Bengal region, we also knows about the stories of Manjusha. And there is a Sikhi baskets might carry a mother's loves woven into the golden grasses. And we make a very special a set of animal faces baskets, and they're very popular with the gallery. So we want it as a visual storybook, so everyone can build a memory from that region, from that particular sculpture for the ritual. And when we talked about engaging, a gallery cannot be complete without the engaging with the audiences across generations. So there we actually uh, we have text, bilingual text in Hindi and English. We have touch screens and digital stories. We have put AVs, audio visuals, to talked about more about the artist. Because these galleries was created to see, hear, and feel about the tradition. Just not look at the not look at through its classes. So when we entered in the space, actually a very warm and open space. All our history galleries, we have different partitions. When you move through the gallery, walk through the gallery, you'll find different stories, different traditions are depicted. But in the regional art gallery, it's very strikingly different. And it's a very warm and open space. And you once you entered in the gallery, you see the all the large paintings and artworks are there. One thing we have talked about is the monumentality of this artwork. This is a very large scale. We usually see a Madhubali painting or Manjusha painting, anything is an 18 by 12 inches only.
Moumita,
But
let me know if you'd like me to move the screen.
yes, sure. And these are all very big. You can see the 340 by 576 centimeters. That is a very big. It's a wall size. And all our walls are covered with this paint. This rarely have a negative space in the painting, yeah, in the wall. And you can see there is a whole white wall. It was for the projection where we are running our audio visuals. And I will quickly show those, yes, what the artworks we have. This is the Kohobar. It's a genre of Madhubani painting, usually done. Kohobar Ghar means the wedding chamber, the hospital chamber, and is what adorned with the different faculty, prosperity terms, and some main on the walls of the bride rooms. Talks about, and sometimes the border was done with the bitten leaf. So it talks about the loyalty, love in marriage, and good fortune. And then next, it is also a different genre of Madhubani painting. So, and it is done by Dulari Devi. Dulari is really a different Dalit woman who has created this, and she is talking about the nature loving, the puja of Kamla, dedicated to Ganesh Lakshmi, usually done by the Malla caste from where she is belonged to. The next slide. This is also in Madhubani painting. You will see that the Madhubani art has different styles. Some is Bharni, Tantri, Kachni, Kodhna. It's in Bharni style. It's a field, colors are filled with, and it's done by Vinita Jha. It talks about the cycle of life from birth to death. And depicts the life of a person of a Mithilanjan from birth ceremony, ambulances, adulthood, marriage, rituals, funeral customs through intricate patterns and uh, designs. So this is the next, usually done in red and black lines. And so another painting is also a genre of Mithila painting called Godna style Mithila. Godna means tattooing, and on the symbolic signs of woman or male bodies. And these are from the Dalit community people are usually done. And the best artist, you can see the Sivan Paswan. Yeah. Next, let's talking about the Manjusha painting. It's usually seen trace back to the 7th century, and usually the Bhagalpur region of Bihar is we find it on the Bhagalpur region of Bihar. And primarily, it has three colors in it: red, yellow, and green. It talks about the story of Bihula Vishwari, and it also has a mythological stories around it. And the Chand Sadagar is a conflict between God and the human, and the merchant Chand Sadagar and Mansa, the gods of snakes. Ends with him the becoming an ardent devotee of Mansa. And who doesn't? Chaksadagan never wants to worship Mansa, but at the end, is actually offering. And how the story is moving around how he's become an ardent devotee of Mansa. Next. And so we have this Sujni. Sujni is called the meaning Su mean facilitating and Jenny means bath. Originally, quilts for the newborns. And this style is very similar with the Katha style of West Bengal. And it's together patches the old cloths and they embroidered with colorful threads to create motifs and designs. Traditionally, it's for the baby's mothers or the women of the household, embroidery done by them, and it talks about the dreams and hopes of the newborn. And next is the applique. So we find it, we call it khatwa, or usually done for crafts for tames and canopies for royal and nobilities. But nowadays we can see in the saris or other for commercialization has happened. So the batters, cushion covers, all this. So it is actually involves the cutting the designs from one fabric and then stitching into another fabric. Next, there's a Baban Buti. Buti is all the motifs, and it's a Baban in 52. So it's a 52 types of booties are usually woven in the fabric with the vertical box of the loom, and it can be done in the silk or cotton fabrics. And this kind of weaving we usually find in the Baswan Bihar village of Nalanda. So to connect with Nalanda, the origin of Nalanda, with the place, we have asked the artist to see that they should create something. So he has come with the idea to do the Mahabodhi temple and the Buddha. This is original in that Nalanda district. Nalanda district. He's a tribute to that. Next, this talks about it's a Tikuli art. So Tikuli is actually talks about Bindi, we all circular mark worn by the woman. But now what it is practiced is very different from the its original format. And usually people used to cut glass frames small round and then coated with gold or silver for the reflective surface. But now he has changed everything, and he had getting the theme of mythological theme that you see the Krishna Lila, and there he adorned those garments with dots. So that's how they representing the Chitti. And Ashok Kumar Vishwas is one artist who has revived this art form from 90s, late 80s and 90s. Next. So it is called paper mache, and you can see saw the tube paper yeah, in French, the paper mache, and the idea of the Adi Shakti. Adi Shakti means obviously the the goddess. It talks about the region's spirituality. And the artist has learned these paper mache techniques from his grandmother. So, it's a massive, you can see, we cannot put a perfect measurement for this, but it's a massive, it's a more than 5 feet long, and it is bifacial, so it's a 3D sculpture. So you can go in and around of the sculptures, and in the both sides, the Adi Shakti is carrying the woman fertility cult, is taking the child with him, with her. So this is a massive and different piece altogether in the gallery. Very unique. Next. This is a Sikhi grass, the golden grass. Okay. And this is a marriage scene. You can see. And the Sikhi craft is usually they call it golden grass or mountain grass, naturally originated in waterlogged areas of Mithilachal. And they used to make the everyday household items like baskets, mat. But here we are try to put the marriage scenes. And people usually give Sikhi baskets in the marriages. That is also part of the ritual. So we so a very artistically and culturally embedded into this region, and obviously providing the livelihood for many artisans. Next, this is one of the unique work and is a cluster of almost 30 to 35 artworks of small and to bigger to small sculptures. Around it is Sama Chakeva. Its art was done by the Rajat Ghosh. Sama Chakeva is a folklore of stories of brother and sister, how a brother has in the punishment, the uh, sister became half bird and half human, and then brother, how he has revived his sister from that punishment, and what is it's a story and love and bonding between a brother and sister of that region. And still, it is the festival was performed in the Mithila region. So everything has an intangible and tangible heritage around it. We want to focus not at the material culture, but that goes beyond that culture. Next is was the bamboo art of the region. It's done by the Manish Kumar Mani. So it's a tea tire artwork, and here at the last year we showcasing that the how they have processed the bamboo to make it for making of baskets or other utility sustainable goods. At the top tier, you will find that they have created scene of Chhat. That is very popular. Everyone, we all knew about Chhat, and now every regions of India and abroad we actually celebrated Chhat everywhere. So I'm not talk much about it. Next. It's also a sea log chart that is done on the wood, and one of the very intricately done in the wood carvings. And you can see all these lines, how the lines are created to make it that while they are giving giving the worship and the setting sun and the rising sun. So they all deep to themselves have to do the Ganga and to, into the water. So that's how the artists are creating that ripples. So this is very, very fine work has done. And every detail while they are putting on the thali, so all those fruits and other ritualistic object what are they are actually using, he has created everything onto this. Next, yes, is a portrait of local festivals. Make a different type of festival, different type of potteries, or but like Deepavali or any others festivals around it. And is done by the Lala Bandit. Why we have chosen this apple particularly? Because it's very colorful and it has a almost 100 to 150 type of different ritualistic object. They have diyas with the the horse faces. They have many things that are used in marriages, Deepavali. So and the color combination that strikingly beautiful and vibrant, but it doesn't gives you a very warm and soothing feeling, though it's very vibrant. Next, this is the heart of fish. It's a silver fish. Usually, people give to their daughter in the marriages. It's a practice in the Mithilanchal. And Palmon Shah has created this. So it's all we have from small fish to very big fish, and we you can open that mouth of the fish. So usually they can put something on that inside, and they give it to the daughter. So these are the artworks and in the galleries. I think it's different and unique representations here in the Bihar Museum. And the engaging part, I think, next Apoorva will continue to discuss.
Thank you so much, Moumita, for taking us through that very lovely and deeply intimate walkthrough of the regional gallery and the visual gallery at the Bihar Museum. We can see that, you all are showcasing the artisans, the artists, and the art forms and crafts of Bihar. And you've given us a beautiful glimpse of what all is there that Apoorva could have engaged with when she came to visit and work at the museum. And I think we've seen it at the big picture. You've seen the vision of the Bihar Museum. So now I'll invite Apoorva to share her project and how she engaged with this collection that you've just shared with us. Over to you, Apoorva.
I'm just going to share my screen. Is this full screen?
We can see your computer screen, not the presentation just yet.
Just one second.
Yes.
Now? Yeah?
Yes, now we.
Yes, hi. So yeah, this project was in response to a call put forward by the IFA to engage with the collections at the Bihar Museum. And the way I started thinking about this project is actually being a conservation architect and deeply interested in visiting museums. I'm also quite an obsessive museum label reader. I like to read more and know more about the exhibits. But like you saw in how Moumita presented, there are so many stories about these exhibits and objects that one is not able to convey through, labels, or even in walkthroughs, we're not able to convey many of these hidden stories, which are part of the histories of these objects and exhibits. This project, the Pocket Museum, was in response to that germ of an idea. I actually was really interested in looking at how museums or libraries or actually institutions of memory record our past, and how do people actually engage with institutions like these. I specifically looked at, different kinds of, initially in libraries, how you should record and label collections of things And similarly, in a museum, how museum catalogs are made, how are they accessed, how do people, engage with these things. And the attempt through this project was really to reimagine these two forms of recording, either the form like the library card catalog and the museum catalog book, and to imagine these acts of recording as also acts of play. And to propose this idea of act of recording as also acting as also an act of play, with project I propose to create a set of cards of these collections which you're seeing at the regional art gallery, and a method through which a museum like this can be carried anywhere, even in your pocket. Uh, and at the start of this project, and this to start thinking about this act of recording and act of play, I looked at various card formats. There were historically examples of how playing card decks were not only used for playing, but also in terms of educating and providing visual narratives and information through these card games. So these are some of these interesting examples that I came across. And this method of looking at a card format, or what it also does is it also helps in this idea of cross-referencing items and things across time and space. So this is the plan of the Bihar Museum. You can see, as Moumita explained, there are three history galleries that they have, A, B, and C. And there's an orientation gallery, and then there is also the regional gallery, besides some other galleries. And what this format through this card format, a person can, sort of draw connecting threads through, say, an object or a sculpture which is in the 13th century in Gallery A, to a coin which is 13th century coin in Gallery C, or even sort of try and draw some visual connecting threads, as opposed to, say, how a horse is depicted in the sculpture of Surya, and how a horse is, depicted in mythological stories that you see in the Tikuli art form in the regional art gallery. So this is something that I saw, that, there were possibilities of what the card format could do with this kind of act. And with this idea, I had gone to the regional art gallery at the Bihar Museum. And as Moumita has explained, the scale of these are massive. You can actually see the human scale as opposed to, the scale of these exhibits is almost thrice or four times. And you're quite like, it's overwhelming as well as extremely visually rich to see. You can spend like hours and hours in front of them and just keep on finding things and motifs and, figures all through of these exhibits. And as Moumita explained, these are the kind of exhibits that you see in the regional art gallery, some of the snippets that you see on the right-hand side. And what I observed was that when people were coming into this gallery, they were not really engaging or staying too long with, in front of these exhibits. They were mostly just looking at them and walking by. They didn't really, because there's so many stories hidden within it, and not everybody is familiar with the regional stories and the local arts and crafts. And it was, and because these exhibits, so many stories embedded within them, there's a difficulty for the museum, any museum, to convey so much in, such a short time span, as well as, conveying these stories through just a label. But as you can see, these are all of these stories, like Moumita explained, convey the region's history, their myths, the folklore, the local knowledge systems, and even, stories of everyday people. And through this, what was observed was that I developed this card game and identified there are these recurring motifs that one sees throughout all of these histories, throughout all of these exhibits, and also these stories that come across in these exhibits. And these motifs, which are recurring, are not only in the regional gallery, but you will see it across their history, across the gallery A, B, C, and the orientation gallery, there are objects and exhibits, paintings, sculpture, etc., which carry these very recurring motifs. And 10 such motifs were sort of selected or shortlisted from the numerous ones that were observed, which was the cattle, the horse, the peacock, the tree, pots, fish, the sun, the snake, and water. These are just few which, but there are many, many more that were observed. And each motif, as you see, there was a set of 5 cards which were prepared for each of these motifs. Um, these are glimpses of some of the cards. I will also show it on my screen sometime later so you understand the scale of it. But these are what these cards, how they were designed was that they carry snippets of information of relating to the history of the object itself, probably how it is made, where it is found, or details about the artist. And even there is an attempt to also closely look at the visual object itself. For example, this terracotta object is, when you see it in the museum, it is surrounded by 10 other terracotta objects. And when you see this snippet of the Tikuli painting, it is part of this really, really large panel. And there's something that you don't really observe when you are in front of it. So the card format is also an attempt to actually visually draw a person or user closer to what these arts and crafts are, just understanding how visually rich they are. So these are some kind of examples of each of these motifs. And as you can see, there are stories and snippets from mythological stories, or just very simple stories of how they are made or where they are found, who are they made by. And as you can see, these provide information of what the title of the exhibit, as well as the gallery in which they are located, and information about them. And as you can see, there was an attempt to not only look at the regional art gallery, but look at across galleries how these motifs are shown. And actually, from these kind of observations, you also get a sense of how historically these things are seen, as opposed to how they're depicted now in their local arts and crafts, and make interesting comparisons, associations with these card formats. Yeah. And so, as Moumita also explained, that the regional art gallery has 10 of these different kinds of arts and craft forms, which are Madhubani, Tikuli, Sujini, the Katwa applique, Manjusha, bamboo and cane crafts, the paper mache, wood carving, Sikhi artifacts, and the terracotta objects. And the cards contain information of the materials that were used, the procedures of making, and the use of these artifacts and exhibits. So these are just some examples of the kind of description of how the katwa applique is made, what is the method of stitching them, the colors used in the manjusha being white, yellow, and red, and the Sujini, and where the word Sujini comes from, and also how it is crafted and made. As I said, there are 10 of these motifs and 5 cards each of them. And there are 2 zero cards, which make it like the 52 card pack that we know of. If you can see my screen, this is how it looks, the scale of it. And I'll show it again later in the discussion, but the card pack also comes with a um, guidebook and the set of cards. And the guidebook contains some of the examples of games that you can play with. You can play like seize the matching pair game, or create, go to the museum and play your own museum treasure hunt. Or there are also the more popular form of games that you can play, like Rummy or Bluff, or all of these, or you can actually create your own games with these set of cards. Along with this pack of cards, there was also an additional thing that was created, which was an interactive version of the pack of cards. And this is displayed in the Regional Art Gallery. It has an interactive screen, and a very fun small game was created for the audience coming into the gallery. I'm going to stop sharing and reshare. I'm going to share and play the game of easy version of the game for you guys to know how it was done. It's like if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So this is how it is displayed on the museum screen. This version is available in English and Hindi as well. A person can switch to Hindi and press another tab and switch to Hindi language as well. And the game is basically just matching the pair, you know. So you can choose your difficulty level. I've just chosen easy for now. And you try and match the pairs as fast as you can. Yeah, there is something where the number of moves is calculated, your time is calculated. You can get a hint also if you want from each of these. Yeah, and yeah, you can just continue playing this. So I'm again going to stop sharing and go back to my presentation. Yeah, is the screen changed?
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, so after creating this, the card pack, the Pocket Museum, and also the interactive version, there was the inauguration of this had taken place across 2 days through a workshop at the Regional Art Gallery. And it was just open to the audience, and they could come and play, you know, different kinds of games and interact with the exhibits. And one game was, again, like match the pair game that we played there. It's simpler to understand. And there were people across generations that were coming and, you know, looking at what this is. It really helped them also look more closely at the exhibits that are around them, because something that they had not identified or seen in these larger exhibits, they were able to, you know, they actually saw what it was and then went back and, you know, looked at the artwork more closely. So it was quite interesting to see how everyone coming into the museum was trying to do that, you know, and trying to engage more with these exhibits then. There was also the treasure hunt was seemed to be a lot more fun for the audience then. And there were these cards which were given across. This was played only within the Regional Art Gallery, and there were people, each person was given, you know, 3 to 4 cards, and they had to identify where the snippet of that which was displayed on the card is seen on the exhibits. So you can see this little kid, he has a card of these 2 peacocks, and he ran and he identified, I mean, he took his time, but he ran and he identified that this was part of this larger painting, and, you know, it was here. And people also documenting that they had identified this here and this there, and it became like this competition thing also between people who could identify faster and things like that. So it really helped, I think, from the conversations that took place during that day, that people were really able to read more, see more, and, you know, really engage with the narrative, visual narratives that these exhibits were trying to sort of get into. this is the interactive screen which is at the museum, and you can see how the game was sort of the interactive version of the game was displayed at the museum. Yeah, actually, what we have also done is there's a version of this Match the Pair game that has been created for our online audience today. And probably after the discussion, I'll share the link on the chat, and you can actually log into it and also play the game at your homes and get to know a little bit more about the Bihar Museum sitting in your homes. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, Apoorva, for sharing. I think a lot of queries that have come from the audience, I'll invite Moumita to join us as well, is about how to play the game, how to, there are questions about the technicalities of the how to procure it, etc. But we'll get to that aspect. So I'll first start asking Apoorva a question. I mean, I'm sure this was a collaborative process between you and Moumita very closely while you had this creative idea of engaging with the collection. I'm sure there were a lot of conversations that you had to have with Moumita in terms of what would get showcased. Firstly, I don't know if the Apoorva has, okay, she's back. I thought she's frozen. Apoorva, I was just curious, like you said, there were so many motives. This is a two-part question. There were so many motives that one could zero in on. So I'm curious about the choice of the motives, one. And two, as Moumita shared in her initial thing, the artwork is expansive. And there are so many elements. And how did you choose which element to play with or engage with? I'm sure there was a conversation. So if either of you would like to answer that.
Yeah, I mean, probably I can answer it from my side. Initially, there were so many in terms of like, I have not included the lotus and there were so many more. And but it came down to how visually, what kind of stories that were embedded within each of these motifs actually, and what kind of information was enough to say. Because some of them were just part of, a larger thing, not really adding that much kind of value in that particular exhibit. So that is why that was the choice as to that's why I pick a certain kind of motives over the other. There were some motives which had so many stories, like for example the cattle and the elephant I had found actually 15 of them.
Mhm.
And that then I had to shortlist, just five from them, because each of their stories was so lovely to share. So, I mean, and there were versions that I was debating that, like, do we do the 52 card game, or it can be two sets of two different, maybe a 30 card game, and 50. There's so many versions that are possible in this, but in interest of time and budget also, this was also an experiment, like the initial experiment. So we sort of, through discussions, we sort of said that, okay, this is the first trial, first set of motives, and we will stick to the 10 motives, 5 cards each. So it was that kind of, back and forth between these things.
And most importantly, the motifs are very popular. It is across all the galleries, the sun motifs, the fish motifs, everywhere in all the artworks in the antiquity. So that's why these motifs are chosen in the first half.
That's great. And also, audience is curious whether this particular game is for a certain age group or what age group it is. I should tell the audience that when Apoorva shared her set of cards for the archive, the whole office played it. So the age group that we are in also played it. So Apoorva and Moumita, would you like to share that who was the intended group that you wanted to engage with this card game?
Uh, the one thing is that we engage everyone who is visiting that. If we usually get the visitors from the local Patna and even from the Bihar region, this is the most large numbers of people are coming. So they already knew about the culture, the rituals, but we want to see that paintings from a different angle, different point of view. and to engage themselves. Sometimes they are also the artists. Some of them are artists. Every day they are paintings. But in a museum, they have a different behavior. So we want to break that behavior, and sometimes the children are coming with their parents, and the parents are also helping them to go and find those treasure hunt motifs. So it's both of them to engage with, and because these are very large, so sometimes they get lost in which motifs are there, where to view at. So this wall cards is a way, and we all love the the miniaturization of the big thing into a very small pocket. So that is also we love the small dolls, small toys. The Kinder Joy thing. So it's a miniature of that whole the bigger regional art gallery.
Apoorva, would you like to share if
Yeah.
you did any
Yes.
testing and that process
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like, yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. So I did sort of try and play the game with some of my friends, and and try to experiment what different ways in which it can be played and how people are engaging with it. And initially in the workshop as well, there were a lot of school children and younger children coming in and just interested in playing the game. And slowly it was interesting to see through the day how when children were coming, even their parents came in and said, what is happening when we want to know. And actually, by the end of the day, I think everybody, like across all ages, were coming in and playing. There was like, it was not just intent. Initially, the intention was never just for children. Of course, it's more, some cards are more simplistic, some cards give more information, but the act of playing and reading more information is just for everybody, any person entering the regional art gallery and the museum. It's for them.
That's good. I'm going to take a few questions. Of course, there are words of appreciation. Ankita says amazing concept. Jim Tarakan says beautiful, to Moumita sharing earlier, beautiful insight and inside view. So people are very appreciative of the idea and excited with it. They're saying it's beautiful and it's a nice concept. I'll just ask a couple of questions that have come up. One, of course, uh, two, maybe I'll come to this little later, Moumita, about what is the future of the game. Can this game be used outside the museum, or does it only play out as a treasure hunt at the museum? I mean, we kind of answered that, but maybe Apoorva, maybe if both of you can share a little bit more details of how this pocket museum, literally it's a pocket museum, which indicates that you can walk away with it. So how it plays out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not intended to be played just at the museum. You can take it with you everywhere. This is the card pack in which it comes, and the size of it, you can see the size of my hand. And like I said, you can play any kind of games. Like you can play the more popular games of, if you play Rummy or Bluff from it, or you can play the Match the Pair games. You can play like in terms of you can also create your own games. Like for example, these are in terms of identifying and having collections of motifs, or even matching. These cards are also color coded. Each motif is also color coded. There are you can make pairings between the location of these objects within the museum. So there are they can be also sorted according to whether they are in the regional gallery or gallery A, B, C. So there are so many permutations and combinations that one themselves can make and create your own game through these motifs and combinations. Like I can play a game and say that each player should collect all cards of this particular color, or a team should create and be able to collect all these kind of the cards from gallery A. So there are so many possibilities that you can do without actually even going to the museum. And it's also a way where you can read the information and get a glimpse into what the regional art gallery and the museum have without actually stepping into it. And probably it makes you curious to even visit it. Yeah.
Apart from treasure hunt game, you can play anything and everything. These cards. That's a memory to
Yeah. Yeah, the memory
take museums in a pocket. It's
yeah.
different
No,
sort
and,
of.
and I have to say that in the IFA office in Bangalore, we played the memory game where we divided ourselves into teams and which team could solve the memory and match the cards the soonest one. So it was really fun and engaging. We didn't want to stop. So yes, all the way in Bangalore, we engaged with the Bihar Museum and its collection. Someone's asking, does it require a museum mediate? This, Mamta, you can perhaps answer. Let's start with the question that I wanted to ask. This was a pilot project. It was a prototype. And the idea was that the Bihar Museum would be able to take this card game forward. So if you and Apoorva, you or Apoorva can share what is the future, what is the museum envisioning with it? We can see that it's in a digital space. Where has this gone?
So right now, is we have a lot of plans about it. We had discussion, a lot of discussion about it, and that was the preliminary versions that we have created through this project, and we are taking it to the farther. And because every galleries in gallery A, gallery B, we all have created some games. We have every audio visuals. Only this gallery, we don't have any games created or anything that is to interact. So this is the preliminary game that we have started, and we want that and more information to be put in, and different versions could be created, and there we can engage more people with digital, and people are physically and digitally they are both are enjoying it because and the youngers are more interested in the digital.
Um, okay, so now Ankita is asking, of course, many people have asked Moumita, where can they procure the game? They're saying it's a beautiful souvenir for the museum.
At a Bihar Museum shop,
Yeah.
and we are keeping this item, and we are printing it, and we are going to put it. So we have finished the first lot. So
Okay, you've exhausted the first lot.
exhausted,
Yeah.
and so we are now our coming Binali. We are trying to keep it to our visitors as well, our
Okay,
explorers. And
great,
we'll keep it. We'll get it by from the Bihar Museum shop.
great. So now there are questions. I think you all have explained it, but Anita is asking, does it require a museum mediator to activate the visitors? Have you measured the impact? Would it be numbers of those who played or other metrics? Does it require a museum mediator? Do you have someone who
Yes,
engages?
we need a museum mediator to play this game. So even if you buy the set and then you can go and on your own, but if you want to play and be engaged in it, educators, interns are there who usually facilitate this. And we ran it for last year for 6 months almost, and then now we had a different setup. So that
Sure.
we will again start this.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Apoorva, when you were creating this, did you engage with the interns or mediators? Did you have that chance so that this could be taken forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the various people from Momita's team that I engaged with, they were very helpful. They gave me all these stories that Momita has shared. They could relate to me, and there was one intern, Mayuri, who really helped me through the workshop. And I think she also carried it forward when I was not there. So it was really helpful, and so that it was, if I'm not there in person, the museum, the people from the museum were able to take it forward.
And also for the audience, the Pocket Museum comes with a little booklet, so it does have explanations on how you could do facilitate yourself or for other people as well. So that's also useful. Momita, Apoorva, in your experience, what fared better? What fared better with the audience, the physical game or the digital version? What fared better? Diksha Goel is asking you.
The physical one, I think. they are more excited. And they are playing with a group as well. And we can see they are competitive with each other. You can go and see the motives and come first to inform Apoorva, okay, we have found it. And they are doing that, and they are coming again and again, not once and twice. And one, two, three people I have seen that there comes in 2 or 3 times in the museum while we are doing the experiment, and after that in the Saturday Sundays, and everyone is inquiring one after that, okay, are you playing and when you are facilitating this, because Friday, Tuesday to Friday, we didn't allow able to run that game. On the Saturday Sundays, we usually in the physical space with our interns. So the physical one is more exciting and fun.
Yeah,
And were there
I think so
observations you
too,
made,
because
Apoorva? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I think so too. The physical game conduct fared better, because what I also observed, I mean, this is something that is happening in a lot in museums, where people take photographs of the exhibit, or the photographs of them is in front of exhibits, but there is no actually tactile or visual engagement. So the card as a physical thing to and relate was really more popular, and not the object and the card while this was happening.
Apoorva, your voice is now you're back. You're a little bit were broken.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're good now. So Aditi, oh, she dropped off. All right. So while Apoorva comes back, Moumita, you also answered this question. Apoorva's back.
Sorry, I lost my connection for a
Yeah,
second. Yes.
you're back now. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I was saying that the physical counterpart did fare better, because people were, at least for that duration in time, people were not engaging with, taking pictures or taking photographs of themselves, but actually looking at the physical form of the cards, what was seen there, what was written there, and then go to the exhibit and, make that
Yeah.
connection. So it definitely did fare better.
And you could see the joy of that child who
Yeah.
matched it with the artwork. So that was really good. And I think it's really interesting because you've taken the idea of the memory card or the catalog. Then there's this expansive painting, and you've brought it back into a form that is the memory card. Like you said, it's the play on the idea of the record keeping. And it's also interesting that you've created a manner in which we can intimately engage with it. When I saw the card first and then the artwork. So when I was seeing it, I could completely identify with the artwork in the gallery because I had seen details intimately in the card. So I think there's a beautiful connection that both the museum is able to create thanks to this intervention. Okay, people have a lot of questions. One more. So Aditi Krishna Kumar is asking, you have in-depth information on the motifs and their significance on, say, a stone carving or a bamboo display. How does the participant get time to observe, compare, and assimilate this information? I think I kind of said a little bit about, but if you'll have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, that you can carry it with you anywhere and take your own time to, observe these, read these things. And like, it's up to you of how you engage with these, how much time you spend in front of the artwork or with these. This actually is also pushed to, if you don't have time in the museum, if you're visiting the museum for, you have just 1 hour, and you're just generally you're rushing through a museum sometimes when you're a tourist or visiting, and you don't really have time to see these things. So things like these become points which you can take back and sit at your own time and engage more with the exhibit. So you remember something that you've seen and you want to know more. So things and attempts and experiments like these probably help more.
Yeah. Jim Tarakan is saying that it's great that it's physical and has a tactile feel to it, and it would be engaging. He is curious for the full consideration of sustainability. Are these cards printed on plastic sheets or are they on paper? I
It's
see
in
the
paper.
It's on paper. He sees a deterioration of paper if the card is played a few times. But I think there's also the beauty of the dog-eared cards that we all had growing up and how to.
We're using a very high quality paper.
Yes, yes. And also generally for there is a particular coating that comes on it, which helps to preserve it for slightly longer time. So the first set of cards didn't have that coating, but I mean, the future iterations are going to have that.
Great. So also how the production also has been evolving. And he's asking, have you considered a version which could invite visually, people with visually challenges to engage with the content? Is there something that you do at the museum or this game, perhaps in a different iteration?
Yes, certainly we can do that. We don't have that tactile experience in any of our exhibits or any levels. Certainly we can that.
Yeah,
So
I think it's
for the
a
next
great idea and it should be done.
Tech ideas.
That's lovely. Thank you for sharing that. So Siddharth is asking that this is a lovely presentation. He says there's a lot of these folk traditions and folk arts that have a lot of music and poetry of exquisite nature associated with them. Does the Bihar Museum look forward to incorporating these aspects too, along with the art objects, in the interest of conserving the intangible music traditions along with the tangible ones in your gallery?
We are documenting right now. We have even the Kamla Puja paintings that have shown to you, the Madhubani painting. The Tibetan Devi, she itself sings all the whole paintings. So she sang for us, and we have documented her singing. And later on in our any audio visuals, or we will incorporate that singing and for the picture.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Of course, someone is saying it could be a possible source of revenue. For sure. Certainly, for sure. And no, but thank you both for sharing. That's been very interesting. I mean, there were lots of questions that the audience had to engage with it. For our lovely audience, Apoorva has a treat which we all got addicted to last night. So Apoorva, if you'd like to share what you have for our online audience, please share in the chat and explain so they can experience it.
Yeah. So I'm going to share a link on the chat box. This is actually for you to just get a taste of the same simple game of match the pair. So I'm going to share it and you can copy it and have fun. Just a second. So this is not the same version that is at the Bihar Museum. This was just a interactive teaser for the audience today. Hope you have fun playing and you can, write back here. It just takes a few seconds and faster you do it, it's nicer.
Thank you so much, Apoorva, for creating this for this special little treat for our audience. I'm sure you all will enjoy it and get a feel of what is possible. You can contact the Bihar Museum for details on the game, because a lot of people are curious to procure the game, Moumita. So when the next iteration is ready, the museum will publicize. Just to say that this project was I think a 12 to 15-month project. Apoorva, we implemented the project with Apoorva. She got a technical assistant grant to also take high-res photographs. So it could translate. But Apoorva, I'm curious, it's quite obvious that you continue to engage with the museum through its iterations. If you just want to share a little bit about post the project also, there is a collaboration that I see happening.
Yeah. I think, that has been generally interesting for me to observe in the museum space is how museums are not only these repositories of objects and tangible things and not only intangible stories, but they're also they contain our histories of our visual narrative histories actually, and that is something that we people are not really deeply engaging with how our histories of visual mediums, of visual narratives and things are somehow, getting lost or not really spoken of. And that is something that I have been interested in. And this was the first experiment for that of, because it requires also some form of engagement, and which can be the act of play. But there are so many other ways in which one could look into it. And there have been, I mean, there are some ideas that have been discussing in terms of, again, if we look at certain age groups, and if we can do that for something that is designed specifically for children, in terms of identifying just colors that are used in, objects like these, the history of color that you see, uh, or even the way they are drawn actually, how is nature depicted in each of these exhibits. So there are these versions that I have sort of discussed, which have not yet come to any fruition, but I think this was one attempt to understand how this can be done.
So I just want to thank Moumita and Apoorva. Moumita, firstly, of course, for the Bihar Museum partnering on the Archives and Museums programs, and also for being so open with how Apoorva could play with the collection. And while it's a museum deep in heritage and culture, like she said, but there was also this openness to play that could expand its reach to various audiences. So thank you to the Bihar Museum for opening up your collection, for partnering with IFA for sure, and also to Apoorva for showing us the possibilities also of what can be done in museum spaces. And that's something through our archives and museums programs that we intend to keep expanding, whether it's games, whether it's podcasts, whether it's little notebooks for kids. So I mean, and many more possibilities that we hope artists and cultural practitioners can show us. So thank you so much both for partnering and sharing this evening with us.
Thank you so much. And just special thanks to Ritvika also from the IFA. She was of great help, and I could seamlessly sort of get through many things because she was coordinating, between Moumita, me, and the IFA.
Yeah.
So we miss her today, but yeah, thanks to her.
So thank you, IFA and Apoorva, obviously, for being, and Bihar Museum, we want to do something different. And it's made for doing something different. And programming is a powerful tool to connect with people. Without programming, we have collections and it cannot engage with people. I think we cannot connect the way we want to connect with. So that's why I've chosen this way to get through to the big and to understand and make people understand what we can done with our own collection. What extent we can go beyond the spectacle. Everyone comes and they read our labels, it's fine. They are seeing the audio visuals, it's also fine. But what next? And that next that's to be planned. And
yeah, so thank you for giving us a glimpse into the museum, a very detailed glimpse, and for also allowing us to take the museum in a pocket. So that's really wonderful, and we look forward to more things that will come out from the museum, Apoorva, from your practice as well. And for those who haven't been, please do visit Patna and the Bihar Museum for sure. Do stay in touch with IFA on social media, on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube page. And follow us for events. We host these project showcases every month. We have open calls. You can apply to IFA. So thank you so much, lovely audience. I hope you enjoy the game that Apoorva shared with us. Thank you, Moumita and Apoorva. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Moumita.
thank you.